There is an ancient saying, show me your friends, and I will show you your future. The people we surround ourselves with, knowingly or unknowingly, shape the direction of our lives. Friends are like mirrors. They reflect back to us who we are, who we want to be, and sometimes who we should avoid becoming. When you choose your friends, you are not just choosing companionship, you are choosing influence, energy and vibration. A good friend lifts you, challenges you, and inspires you to rise above your limitations. A bad friend, however, slowly drains you, pulls you away from your path, and clouds your clarity. It is not the number of friends that matters, but the quality of their character. A single wise friend is more valuable than 1,000 companions who do not care for your growth. So, ask yourself, are my friends pulling me forward or holding me back? Do they water the seeds of wisdom within me, or do they feed the weeds of distraction? Remember, life is too short to walk with those who weaken your spirit. Choose friends who remind you of your values when you forget them, who remind you of your strength when you doubt it, and who walk with you, not against you, on the journey of life. When we look at a mirror, it reflects exactly what is shown before it. It does not add, it does not subtract, it simply gives back what is already there. In the same way, the friends you choose are not random people in your life. They are mirrors that reveal something about who you are inside. If you find yourself surrounded by careless, lazy, or negative people, that is a sign of something inside you that resonates with them. If you are surrounded by disciplined, kind, and purposeful individuals, that also speaks to what you value within. The mirror of friendship does not lie. It shows you clearly what energies, attitudes, and values you have allowed into your space. Many people complain about having the wrong circle, but rarely do they ask, what part of me is attracting these reflections? To recognize your friends as mirrors is to take responsibility for the company you keep. In life, the unconscious mind works silently. You begin to absorb the speech, behaviors, and beliefs of those closest to you without realizing it. This is the silent power of reflection. If you spend enough time with people who speak doubt, you will find doubt taking root in your own heart. If you are with friends who only chase pleasure and distraction, you will notice your discipline beginning to weaken. The mirror works both ways. Your presence reflects back to them as well. This is why friends are not simply companions but silent teachers. They show you through their presence the direction of your growth or your downfall. To look at your friends, then, is to look into a mirror that reveals your future self. The question is, are you willing to see what is being reflected, or do you close your eyes to it? The mirror of friendship is also a test of honesty. If you claim to seek wisdom but spend your time with those who only pursue foolishness, you are not being true to yourself. If you say you value inner peace but constantly walk with those who live in chaos, the reflection of your friendships contradicts your words. This is why awareness is essential. The mirror does not deceive, but the ego often does. The ego will say, I am strong enough to resist their influence. Yet, no matter how strong you believe yourself to be, the reflections around you will eventually leave their mark. You cannot walk through rain without getting wet. In the same way, you cannot walk through the environment of your friends without being touched by their habits, their energy, and their mindset. To deny this is to deny the truth of the mirror. And so, wisdom asks us to look carefully at the faces around us. Ask yourself, when I look at my friends, what do they reveal about me? Do they show discipline, patience, and clarity? Or do they reveal laziness, anger, and confusion? This question is not about judging others, but about understanding yourself, because ultimately what you accept in your circle is what you accept in your own life. To choose friends wisely, you must be willing to see yourself honestly in the mirror they provide. And when you see clearly, you then have the power to decide, do I remain in this reflection, or do I seek a mirror that shows me who I truly want to become? This awareness alone can change the direction of your life. For when you understand the mirror, you understand the self. There is a simple truth in life. Some people add to you, and some people subtract from you. Good friends are like fresh air. When you are with them, you feel lighter, stronger, more alive. They do not need to constantly encourage you with words. Their very presence makes you want to stand taller, breathe deeper, and live more purposefully. A good friend does not need to solve your problems. Sometimes their silent understanding and shared discipline already elevate your spirit. On the other hand, bad friends act like heavy stones tied around your legs. They may seem harmless at first, but slowly their influence drags you downward, into habits you swore you would never return to, into distractions that waste your precious time, into conversations that dim the light of your clarity. This difference between elevation and drain is not always loud and obvious. Often it is subtle. You only notice it after weeks, months, or years, when you suddenly realize that your strength has weakened, not because of your own nature, but because of the company you kept. Good friends elevate you by reminding you of who you truly are when you forget. They hold a mirror to your highest self, not your lowest impulses. When you feel doubt, they do not feed it, they challenge it. When you feel tired, they do not encourage laziness. They remind you of your purpose. Elevating friends do not always agree with you, because their role is not to keep you comfortable, but to keep you aligned. They will question you when you stray, not to hurt you, but to protect you from losing yourself. Bad friends, in contrast, are not interested in your growth. They are only interested in the comfort of the moment. They will celebrate your weaknesses because it allows them to justify their own. They will keep you in mediocrity because your growth threatens them. And so, while a good friend sharpens your mind like a blade, a bad friend dulls it through constant distraction and indulgence. The choice between them is the choice between rising higher or sinking lower. The danger of draining friends lies in their subtlety. Rarely will a bad friend openly say, "I want to destroy your discipline." Instead, it happens quietly, through invitations that seem small at first. Skip your training today just once. Why work so hard? Enjoy life. Forget about your goals. Nobody else cares anyway. These words may appear innocent, even caring, but beneath them lies a pull away from your strength, a pull into weakness. This is how bad friends drain you, not with a sudden strike, but with a slow erosion of your willpower, like water dripping onto a stone. Their influence carves away at your resolve, until one day you wonder, how did I become this person? And by the time you notice, the drain has already taken much from you. Good friends, however, work in the opposite way. Their influence is also subtle but constructive. They do not need to push you loudly. Their example itself is enough. You watch how they live, how they discipline themselves, how they choose wisely, and without even realizing it, you begin to imitate their strength. This is the silent elevation that true friends bring. Therefore, to distinguish between a good friend and a bad one, observe how you feel after spending time with them. Do you feel drained, empty, or filled with regret? Or do you feel renewed, stronger, and more connected to your purpose? The body and the mind cannot be deceived. They know when they are being lifted and when they are being pulled down. Trust this inner signal. Do not confuse temporary pleasure with elevation. Bad friends may give you pleasure, but that pleasure quickly fades and leaves you weaker. Good friends may sometimes challenge you and even make you uncomfortable, but that discomfort leads to growth and strength. The true test of friendship is not how good it feels in the moment, but how it shapes your life in the long run. To choose wisely is to understand this difference and to allow yourself to be elevated rather than drained. In modern society, people often mistake the number of their connections for the depth of their relationships. We see individuals collecting friends like trophies, counting hundreds of contacts on their phones or followers on social media, believing this makes them rich in companionship. But the truth is, friendship is not measured in numbers. You may stand in the middle of a crowd and still feel utterly alone. And yet you may walk with only one true friend and feel completely supported. The illusion of quantity creates a dangerous emptiness, because when trials come, when you fall into darkness, it is not the hundreds who will stand by you. Most will disappear, leaving silence where once there was noise. In that moment you will realize that one friend of quality outweighs 1,000 of shallow connection. Numbers can deceive, character cannot. A friend of quality does not need to be constantly present, but their presence is always meaningful. They do not need to fill your life with endless words, but the few words they speak can guide you for years. They are like a steady flame in the night, small perhaps, but powerful enough to keep away the cold and to light your path. Quantity, in contrast, is like fireworks, loud, bright, but gone in an instant, leaving behind only smoke. When you build your life on many shallow connections, you become dependent on noise and external validation. But when you build your life on a few deep friendships, you create a foundation of trust, growth, and strength. A single friend of quality becomes like a pillar. When storms arrive, you lean on them and they do not fall. This is the difference between abundance in numbers and abundance in meaning. Quality also demands a higher standard from yourself. To attract friends of quality, you must first cultivate quality within. Shallow friendships are easy to create because they demand little from you, only entertainment, only distraction, only surface-level engagement. But deep friendships require honesty, consistency, and strength of character. A quality friend will not be fooled by appearances. They see you as you truly are, and they expect truth in return. This is why many avoid quality and chase quantity. It is easier to surround yourself with many who do not hold you accountable than to walk with a few who expect your best. But the path of growth always favors quality. A true friend's silence can teach you more than 100 empty voices. Their loyalty in difficult times is more valuable than the applause of strangers in easy times. Quantity may look appealing on the outside, but it rarely nourishes the soul. Quality is quieter, rarer, but infinitely more fulfilling. The wise do not seek to be surrounded by many. They seek to be surrounded by the right ones. One true friend who sharpens your discipline, reminds you of your values, and strengthens your heart is worth more than 1,000 companions who keep you busy but blind. Imagine a garden. Would you rather have a field of weeds that grows quickly but chokes the life from the soil, or a few strong trees that give fruit, shade, and oxygen for generations? Your friendships are the same. Shallow connections may multiply fast, but they offer nothing lasting. Deep connections take time to cultivate, but they will sustain you for life. To choose quality over quantity is to value depth over appearance, strength over noise, and truth over illusion. And when you do, your path becomes lighter. Not because you walk with many, but because you walk with the few who truly matter. Influence is one of the most silent forces in life. It does not arrive with a loud announcement, nor does it demand your attention directly. Instead, it slips quietly into your daily routine, shaping your thoughts, your habits, and your values in ways you often do not notice. The influence of friends is like the wind. You cannot see it, yet over time it bends even the strongest trees. Spend enough time with people who complain, and you will soon find complaints forming on your own lips. Spend enough time with those who are disciplined, and you will begin to absorb their discipline as naturally as breathing. This is the nature of influence. It works invisibly but consistently, until one day you wake up and realize that you have become the reflection of the company you kept. The danger lies in its subtlety. Because you do not notice it at first, you underestimate its power. But 1,000 small influences repeated daily can change the entire direction of a life. This is why influence must be guarded with awareness. Imagine a drop of ink falling into a glass of clear water. At first, it seems small, insignificant, but slowly the entire glass begins to change color. Your mind is the same. A careless word, a repeated behavior, a constant attitude. These are drops of influence. Left unchecked, they will color your entire being. The difficulty is that the influence of friends rarely feels dangerous in the moment. Laughter, shared activities, moments of connection, they disguise the deeper effect that is shaping your identity. It is not until later, when discipline has weakened or purpose has grown dim, that you realize the quiet power of influence. To underestimate this is to risk becoming someone you never intended to be. For just as poison works slowly through the body, so too does negative influence work through the mind and heart. Yet, influence is not only dangerous, it can also be profoundly transformative in a positive way. The same silent power that can corrupt you can also elevate you, depending on the source. To walk with wise friends is to place yourself in an environment where strength becomes natural. You do not need to force yourself to think deeply, because their conversations naturally lead you there. You do not need to constantly remind yourself of discipline, because their habits set an example for you to follow. This is why monks, warriors, and seekers throughout history have placed such importance on the company they keep. They understood that influence is a constant presence. You cannot block it, but you can choose its direction. And so the wise make sure they are influenced upward, not downward. Influence is like fire. It can burn and destroy, or it can warm and illuminate. The choice lies not in rejecting influence altogether, but in choosing carefully the source from which it comes. The most powerful truth about influence is that it works slowly but permanently. Temporary excitement or inspiration may fade, but influence shapes the foundation of who you become. Consider how a river carves through rock, not by force but by persistence. Influence is the river. It does not ask for permission. It simply flows day after day until it has reshaped the very landscape. In the same way, your daily associations, the energy of your friends, the conversations you allow into your mind, all of these slowly carve the contours of your character. What you think is just casual time spent together is in fact the training ground of your future self. You may resist change for a while, but no one is immune to influence. In the end, you will become like the company you keep, not because you chose to imitate them deliberately, but because the subtle, powerful force of influence worked its way quietly into your soul. Every human being is on a path, whether they recognize it or not. Some walk a path of discipline, seeking mastery over themselves. Others walk a path of wisdom, trying to understand life and its mysteries. Still others walk a path of distraction, chasing temporary pleasures without considering where it leads. The truth is, your own path will always be shaped by those who walk beside you. If your companions are heading in a direction different from yours, the journey becomes heavy, conflicted, and filled with resistance. Imagine trying to climb a mountain, while those around you pull you down the slope, insisting that the valley is more comfortable. No matter how strong your intention, their pull will weaken your resolve. To walk with those aligned with your path is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Without alignment, you may never reach the summit you are striving for. Alignment in friendship does not mean sameness. It does not require your companions to be identical to you in thought or practice. Instead, alignment means harmony in values. You may have different goals, different skills, or different ways of living, but if your values move in the same direction, then your paths converge. For example, if discipline is important to you, a friend who values hard work even in a different field will strengthen your own discipline simply through their presence. But if you walk with someone who values comfort above all else, their influence will slowly encourage you to lower your own standards. The alignment of values acts as a compass. It ensures that even when the terrain of life becomes difficult, the people beside you are not dragging you away from your destination. Instead, they are reminding you of why you started and urging you forward with their own steps. Walking with aligned companions also means walking in peace. When friends are aligned with your path, there is no constant tension, no need to explain or justify your choices endlessly. They understand the rhythm of your life because they live by a similar rhythm themselves. If you rise early to train, they respect it, perhaps even join you. If you dedicate time to study, they do not mock you, they encourage it. Such alignment removes unnecessary friction and allows your energy to be directed toward growth rather than defense. On the other hand, when you walk with those unaligned, every step becomes a battle. You must defend your decisions, resist their distractions, and fight against the subtle erosion of your discipline. Over time, this constant resistance drains you. It is far easier to climb when those beside you are climbing too. The journey may still be difficult, but at least you are moving in the same direction, strengthened by shared effort rather than weakened by conflicting pulls. The greatest gift of aligned friendship is that it transforms the journey itself. When you walk alone, even the right path can feel lonely. But when you walk with companions who share your vision, the same path becomes lighter, more meaningful, and more joyful. Their presence reminds you that your struggles are not unique, that others face the same trials and choose to endure them. This shared struggle builds trust, and trust deepens connection. Together you are not only moving forward individually, but collectively shaping an environment where growth is natural. This is why monks live in monasteries, why warriors train in groups, and why seekers gather in communities. They know that walking with those aligned with the path multiplies strength, shortens suffering, and makes the destination attainable. Alignment is not just about choosing the right friends, it is about choosing the right environment for your soul to grow. And once you experience the power of walking with aligned companions, you realize that no number of shallow connections can compare to the depth of a few who share your path. In the end, life is not defined only by the choices we make for ourselves, but also by the choices we make regarding those we allow beside us. Friends are mirrors of our inner being, silent reflections that reveal the truth of who we are becoming. Good friends elevate us with their presence, while bad friends quietly drain the strength we work so hard to cultivate. It is never the number of companions that matters, but the quality of the few who truly walk with us in honesty and strength. Influence works like an invisible current. You may not notice its pull at first, but given enough time, it shapes the entire direction of your life. This is why awareness is essential, because the company you keep is never neutral. It either builds your spirit or erodes it. To walk wisely, therefore, is to walk with those who are aligned with your path, those who respect your values, who remind you of your higher self, and who travel alongside you with the same clarity of purpose. The truth is simple. Your environment is stronger than your intention. Even the purest seed cannot grow in poisoned soil, but the smallest seed will flourish when planted in fertile ground. In the same way, your soul cannot grow when surrounded by those who weaken it, but it will thrive when nurtured by companions of wisdom, discipline, and virtue. So the choice is yours. Each friend is not just a person but a direction, and each direction carries you closer to your highest self or further away from it. Therefore, choose wisely, not with haste, not with fear, but with awareness. For when you choose the right friends, you are not simply choosing company, you are choosing the very shape of your future.